An experiment changed my manifestation abilities forever. Let me show you what the experiment is. Let me tell you how. And by the end of this video, you're going to look at your life not the same way again. My name is Cosimo. If you're new to my channel, I am a brain rewiring expert, and I rewired 80,000 people worldwide brain to more success and to manifest better in their life. In this channel, you're going to find so much about your focus, about manifesting better, and so you're going to love it. So with this said, let's start with the experiment. 1801. There was Thomas Young, a physicist. So one day I was sitting down and I was thinking, why some people get everything they want, and why other with the same abilities, the same intelligence, the same desires, they get nothing. And I found the answer in Thomas Young experiment. In 1801, he wanted to understand how lights really behave. So he set up a screen and two slits in which light should have passed. Now, the small particle of light is called photons. Imagine all those photons being like bullets, very small particles, very small, tiny bullets. And so basically, he said, so if I shoot those bullets through those slits, I should see a line on the screen. Well, he did it, and that didn't happen. Something incredible happened. He saw patterns on the wall. He shoot just on photons, but there were those patterns like you shoot two stones into a big lake, in which you notice that you shoot a stone, but you see two ripples effect happening. And you say, how is it possible? I just shoot one of those rocks. Then the particle must be then going through both slits at the same time. That's not really possible. And so they understood that the light was behaving like a wave. So they repeated the experiment by putting a detector to understand which one of the particles is passing through which slit. But something disturbing really happened, because now that everybody's observing, actually there was one small particle, there was not anymore a wave, going through the slit, creating the line they were expecting. And so now they asked themselves, what really happened? What changed was just the detector, someone observing. And in that moment, they realized that reality changes when it's observed. So when someone is looking at reality, reality adjusts. And so that was incredible, because I repeated the experiment, and the experiment was always the same outcome. And now physics needed to understand that consciousness really influences reality. Consciousness collapses reality. So now, what does that mean into our life? Well, it has been studied that the particles, before being observed, exist simultaneously in multiple places and exist in any form. So basically, there are infinity possibilities. Before you observe it, so then it means that once you observe it, that collapses in one possibility. And so what does that mean into our life is, where are you placing your attention right now in your life? So what do you think happens in your life when you start changing the quality of your attention? And so here is what happens in our life. Many people wake up in the morning thinking the same problems, thinking the same limitations, thinking the same lack of resources they have, thinking about the same ceilings they think they have in their life. And now, if you start observing, keep observing that into your life, you're collapsing and keep collapsing the same exact thing. So now, what does that mean? So then it doesn't exist bad luck. Exists an observer, exists someone that's observing and putting attention on something. That's lack, and that's creating lack in your life. I want to give an example in my own experience, in my own life. There was a big company, real estate company, who called me one day, wanted to have me on the stage. We went through all the things. Then the owner said, I was talking to the board of advisors, and they told me that maybe this may not be a good fit for the audience we have. And he said, are you willing to talk in front of them? And I said, sure, let me talk in front of them. In that moment, yes, I had some I don't want to say fear, but uncertainty on how those people are. But I knew that they needed this. I knew that the product I had in my hand would have changed their audience's destiny and their destiny as a company. So that certainty I had made me focus on what I wanted to give them, how much love I wanted to put in what I was explaining to them. And so I walk into the room, 40 people. They were all looking at me. And I remember I had that adrenaline to start, and I couldn't wait to start. And instead of focusing on their skepticism, on their I don't trust you, or on their look like I don't know who this guy is, I focused on the fact you're gonna know why this is the best opportunity for your company and for yourself. Long story short, I finished my speech and all 40 said yes, but not only. 23 of them ended up giving me their credit cards to start the program with me before I even disclosed to their audience. Boom! This was freaking amazing. So, what happened for real, if I need to put this experiment, Thomas experiment, double slit experiment, into action in my life? That the particle collapsed in that moment because I focused on something totally different than lack. In that moment, I focused not on their skepticism, but I focused on their willing to understand the fact that I knew what they could impact in their life by taking my program. And so now what happens, that reality organized in a way that collapsed exactly the reality I wanted in that moment. So this brings us to a very profound question. What are you focusing on the most right now? And this experiment, unfortunately, is not really mentioned fully because it's very, I would say, dangerous, very uncomfortable to hear. Because if it is true, we look at reality and reality collapses because we are looking and observing at it. There is no economy. There is no time. There is no perfect moment. There is the moment you choose, what you believe about yourself, what I really want to focus on your life, that you start creating, that creates your life. So you are the only creator of your life. And this brings us to the last question of this video. What are you willing to focus on the most this week? What are you willing to change and to tune into? And once you start doing it and you start seeing that reality is collapsing, small things of the reality you want that will create for you faith, that for you will create a motivation, that for you will create an energy that you never want to stop happening for you. So with this said, see you in the next video.